Top 5 Izogie quotes. You move like a sloth. Number 4. Close your mouth. You look like a fish. Number 3. We need smart warriors, not dumb ones. The dumb ones die quickly. Right. Number 2. You are powerful, more than you ever know. Do not give away your power. And number 1.
The first rule of training, always obey Izogie. I am Izogie.
Welcome to the Fiction Podcast with your host, Frank, and...
I can't follow that, but it's Justin.
Oh, dude, I love Izogie. I love her so very much, and she is one of my favorite characters from the 2022 movie, The Woman King.
I mean, I don't disagree. Izogie's awesome.
Yeah. She was a well-crafted character, directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, and starring, our lady, my lady, Viola Davis. Just killed it. Other amazing actors in this flick as well too. But for those joining us, we are in season 4 of the Fiction Podcast. We're doing the ancient world, moving our way to Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, coming out about a couple months from now, or a month and a half from now, or a month from now. But we're kind of going through different epics, different genre, different eras of the ancient world, talking about who is a legend, who's legendary, and we're hitting different places. We did, the Mediterranean, we did the Far East, we're moving our way to Africa, and we're talking about the Woman King. And I can take a first cut here, because Justin and I, we like to take, we put asterisks when we talk about things. So we said the ancient world, we're talking about the Dahomey culture, and this is something that's more like 15th, 16th, 17th century. To be fair. So that's not the ancient world, but I'm going to do this big caveat. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I am going to come back to tangential themes. Hollywood does not do Africa well.
True.
There are many amazing ancient cultures, strong, powerful, wealthy, big, amazing cultures in Central Africa, Western Africa, Eastern Africa, Southern Africa. And for the life of us, we don't hit them well. And so there are movies out there, but not Hollywood type movies that we think would be good for us to talk about in the show. So to the extent of that, I'm like, well, what can we talk about? So we picked this movie because we, think it's a good movie to talk about in general.
Yep.
But it doesn't hit the ancient culture, but it has an ancient vibe. It feels like it's talking about a society that's rooted in ancient values, foundations. And for folks who are looking for something a little bit different, it does hit those Central Western African cultures that it kind of brings some things to you. So that's why we are doing it. We're also going to take stretches as we get throughout our season in other movies and potential books too. So just know that's going to happen.
2 things on that. One is that if you ask, I don't know, kids today, what is considered old, they'll tell you anybody that's born in the 1900s. So, I mean, as I am wearing a Mario shirt, Super Mario shirt, they'll tell you that anything born in the 1900s, which to them is before 2000, is old. Yeah. So I can only imagine if you ask that same demographic what ancient would be if they had to choose how many years ago and what they would come up with. So that's one point to this. And then the second point is, I hear you. I agree with you. And you know what, though? It's our podcast. We chose the theme. We can do what we like with it. And so here we are. We are going to talk about the Woman King. It's going to be great. And that being said, this was my first time seeing this movie. And I'll let you get into your intro. But all I'm going to say is, holy smokes, you could have warned me. I had no idea what I was getting into, because I don't like to read what I'm getting into beforehand if I don't know. If we're talking about a topic, I just want to dive right in and see it. And I could have used a heads up.
I thought you would have done a synopsis, maybe.
No, because I don't want to ruin anything.
Well,
unlike unlike you're about to do, I didn't want any
Yes,
spoilers. So, this is your
yes. I was
spoiler
gonna,
warning. We will
yes.
try to keep this first part spoiler light. Frank is gonna try, but we are
Yep.
going to get spoiler heavy towards the end of this. So I'm gonna get that
Oh,
part
we
out of
will.
the way.
I appreciate that. So we'll hit us with a little summary, and then we'll talk about some key characters and some of the world building themes, and link it back to sort of our general theme about hero, legendary, that kind of stuff. And then two fun segments for us: the Ron Weasley Award.
I gotta think about that one.
I do too, but I think I've got a couple. And then we'll grade the movie just like usual. Again, the whole thing about spoilers too, like if you are someone who hasn't watched and want to watch and don't like spoilers, just pause it, watch it, come back. But if you don't mind, you want to get a little bit more detail about it, or you've already watched it and you just like to talk about it, this is the podcast for you. So let's hit it up. Just a quick teaser of a summary. Inspired by real women warriors of the kingdom of Dahomey, the Woman King follows General Nanisca and a new generation of recruits as they defend the kingdom against external threats while confronting difficult questions about power, survival, and the systems they serve. At its heart, the film is both a war epic and deeply personal story about trauma, mentorship, and legacy. While packed with intense action and sweeping battles, the film's real focus is on the women at its center, their sacrifices, relationships, and struggle to define themselves beyond the roles society assigns to them. More than simply telling a story about warriors, The Woman King explores what heroism means when history itself is complicated. Um, Now, I like, war chants, war cries, like in 300 when they kind of do their like
Yeah.
war chant. I love the Agojie. Agojie, Osa, Agojie, Osa. Just, just like my ladies, man. I just like
That's
them. So,
I can respect it. I was into
uh,
it.
yeah. So I figured it would be fun to start with the Agojie and the world building, right? So the Agojie, like we said, like picture everyone calls them like the African Amazon, right? Like, these Amazon women warriors. They're real. They're a real thing. How long they were impactful for the Dahomey society and all that stuff. But they were real. Like these were really like basically the King's Guard. They were the King's Guard,
Yeah.
right? So they were selected by the king. They were trained, they fought, they were in the thousands. There were thousands of them. So this is a real deal. And when we think about societies, and I'm going to say this not pejoratively or not stereotypically, a lot of societies, a lot, like 98.98% of them, women had no freaking rights, right? We know this. I'm not making stuff up. So the fact that, like, yes, did they have rights? Who knows? We don't fully get that deep in the movie and in the
Right.
society in general, but they were given a lot that would equate to a man, what a man would be given. So this is a big deal. Like I really think it's a huge aspect of it that I love that at least that part is brought to light. So the Agojie are real women warriors and they're depicted in a real African society. So I can start or you can start. Like, do you want to talk about like the world through the Agojie, or do you want me to start talking about that? Happy to happy
That
to
is
speak.
I will say it's tough to know where to start because there's this movie, there's so much going on and just as a whole, and it's tough to figure out where to go with it, to be honest. But
Yeah.
as the Goji go, I think it remind what I thought what I it's what I love about it. It's this elite group of badasses and their
Mm,
fighting style and their training, and it's a lot like all the other movies that we've talked about. Probably closest is like 300 and the
300.
Spartans.
Yeah.
And you know what? We talk about how much I mean, don't need to get back into your ab obsession, but we talk about how awesome they were and how bad.
Their abs were also amazing in this movie too. So my
Yes.
obsession is still
Yes.
there.
It's still there. It's just you have ab envy. But, we talk we talk about how great they were, and you know what? The Agojie are just like that. Like they're not 300 that stood against, the Persian army, but they are an elite fighting force, and they were awesome. I mean, that's it. And then you have just the way they looked at their honor and their training and their dedication to the craft of what they are honored enough to be a part of, as opposed to being at a different level in what this society was. I mean, this movie tackles a lot of themes, and I'm sure we'll get into them, but from slavery to sexism to all sorts of different like heavy hitting themes in this. These women are a badass, powerful force that, just kicks ass. I mean, really does. And the culture that they bring and the traditions that they have and that they stick to, I really respected and really got into it. And I was just enthralled with them as a whole. Is really just found them to just be a really awesome set of women that just it was super cool. It was just a really cool insight to see. I really liked it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, like, it's funny. Like, I love Viola Davis,
She's
but
shout out just to how awesome she is.
yeah. Well,
Holy smokes.
that's what I wanted to. So I initially saw this with my wife, and like we were just like looking for a movie to watch, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to check it out. I had no expectations of it. She had no expectation. We both left going, that was good. Viola Davis, like, I love her. I think she's an amazing actor. I did not see her in this sort of action movie, right? And even like people like when you see it, like, is it plausible? Is it believable? I believed in her, but I would never. If you casted her and said that's who you're casting for Nanisca, I'd be like, I'm not quite sure yet. But she
Yeah.
killed it.
I would use one adjective that now seeing this and seeing other movies she's been in and just to describe her, it is powerful.
Hmm.
She is an amazing actor, and in different movies she uses different types of power, like as an individual to show up. But in this one, she's just pure power, and
It's
she
just
is
raw power. It's just raw power
amazing.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're going to have a section about her, but one of my favorite quotes about her was just like, so like, Nawi, to one of the young recruits, is like crying because she did something wrong, and she's being faced with Nanisca, literally Nanisca at her face. And she goes, your tears mean nothing. To a warrior, you must kill your tears. So your tears mean nothing. To be a warrior, you must kill your tears. And it's just like, damn.
Yeah.
It's cold blooded, but like that was her. But I mean, that epitomizes like kind of what we talked about, like with this fighting elite class. Like they had to sacrifice so much in order to be so good, in order to continue to have like their autonomy, in order to be, the quote unquote king's guard and all the above. And like I thought it was well done when in the beginning of the movie, they had done a raid, and they had killed these, like, they're not like elite warriors, they're more like farmers, but like they had stolen people, and they had killed them, freed the people they stole, and they're like making their march back to the capital, back to the palace, and the whole society's out to meet them. And then out of respect, they're not even supposed to look at them. They have to look down on the ground, right? Like and it's just like you see them marching. And I don't know about you, but like I love the vision, the way they filmed it, but also throughout the movie they have different renditions of this, but their swords and like the nonchalant way that some of the ladies just like have their swords like leaning on their back with their arms up, just kind of like
Yeah.
walking like drunken stealers. Like I that imagery just like I just love the like sort of the
It's
machismo, like the
yeah,
drip, like just all of
yeah.
that they bring.
It
I just love it.
I love that description because it exudes confidence and swagger
Hmm.
and just it was great. Yeah. I found myself because I tend to do this, I multitask, and like I'll pull up my phone or do something to get distracted. Or when I'm preparing to have a conversation with you on something, I will like constantly like pull up my phone and like look up things. So I'm like, getting like double the intake of watching the film and then also doing because a question comes up. And I actually found a point where I was like, I gotta stop, sat my phone down, went back 20 minutes and was like, all right, refocus, not doing anything else. I need to solely focus on watching this film.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
No, no, I like it. I like it. So we've got these women warriors, right? I kind of so when I talked about them like walking like quote unquote drunken sailors, like the masculinity part, like they had to have like traditional masculine type sort of characteristics. But what I really also loved was like when you get into their space. So there's a part of the palace that only they can be in. No man can go in, I think, but the king, right? And in there, like it's like they can let their guard down, right? Like you see them doing like practicing like some of like the traditional African dances, and you see them just like talking with each other, just like there isn't. And but they're also training, they're also like swordplay and all the other stuff. But it makes them more multidimensional. Not just like you have to be masculine to survive in this world. Like you can still be you. But I will say, like the things that catch me, right or wrong, was that like they lose a lot of who they are. Like if you're a woman in that world, you're about family, you're about like basically that is who you are. In this one, right, your family becomes the Agojie, but like you can't have a family, right? You lose your autonomy, like you don't have an ordinary life. And so is that trade-off worth it? I don't know, but but like I will say like there definitely is a
Oh
trade-off.
yeah.
Like you are basically, that's it.
Yeah, and the sacrifices that they have to make run through it, right? You can't have a family, you can't
Yep.
have love, you can't be with someone, you can't like it's very strict.
Yeah.
And going to something you just mentioned when you're talking about the palace and the setting of it and the space that they're only allowed in, it reminded me of a ludus, which is where gladiators trained. It reminded like they had this own section, they trained there, they had their own
Spartacus.
baths, they had their own baths. But that's what it felt like, right? Is like this was their space. This was their career.
Yeah.
This is what they do. And they
Yeah.
live it, they breathe it, they eat it. They're in that zone 24/7, 365. That's what they have to do. But going back to what you had said was, like the theme of their sacrifice is shown throughout the entire movie. And now this is like, right, this is going into major spoiler territory, but like the decision Nawi makes at the end, when you see her at the end and she's standing at the top of the sand dune and she looks down and sees Malik and she walks away, like you see it, like it is a
Yeah.
constant. That is one of the themes.
She's a true
Sacrifice.
Amazon.
Yeah.
She's a true Amazon. Like that to me, that was sort of like the Amazon nod, right? Like it's like she walks away from her male love interest to go be with quote unquote her Amazon warrior women,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like it kind of, but yeah, no, I agree. Like it's all about sacrifice for the greater good.
How do we keep these themes how do we keep these coming in?
I don't know. It's almost like we can script it.
I don't know, but I'm like determined to find how many other like underlying layers like parfait I can put into this podcast.
There you go. See, there you go. Okay, so I think we do have two heroes in this story. We've got Nanisca, who is Viola Davis, right? She is one of the main characters. And then we got Nawi, who I'm not going to do a full spoiler, but she's a recruit.
I mean, I pretty much just spoiled it.
You did. She's a recruit for the Agojie, who a lot of the story follows as well, too. I think Nawi's story is more like the hero story, like the quintessential, like you're training to be a hero, they're following you through your life. You have pivotal moments that define who you are, that create your heroism, right? And then Aniska, we find her as a legend already. She's already hard-boiled and cooked and made and ready,
Hard-boiled.
right? Dude, I mean,
I just
I
just
hard-boiled
I
oven.
I just don't know how you came up with that word, but I love it. So
it just spilled out of this ambrosia that I'm drinking, and it just can't.
I think that's a great. I think you described that, and now is the traditional like hero's journey that we get, right? It's like you go through it in this training. But what's kind of cool with this film, what is cool with this film, is that we actually get Nanisca's journey as well to an extent through flashbacks and what molded our character in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so like we assume she had a similar training regimen to what Nawi did, but then we have pivotal moments in the movie that would explain her fire and we'll say hatred towards certain individuals. And we get a little bit of that too. So we kind of get, one is done the traditional way, but the other, we also do get that backstory, which I think also is pretty cool. It's two different storylines, two different growth points. It's really cool. It's a really neat way to look at it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you mentioned the flashbacks, and like that is what drives her. Like she has night terrors, from like her past, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, spoiler, but also it's important to know that she was raped multiple times, right? It's a very heavy, thick theme. It's like it's already talking about slavery, which is like a heavy, thick theme on its own, and then you add in all these
I yeah.
things that happen to women and happens to like her, and her losing her strength because of that, but trying to gain it back by being, the Agojie and then being the leader of the Agojie.
When you
But yeah, it was big, right?
Yeah, when you I that was the scene when they had that flashback and they showed that she was raped by I don't know if he's a captain or whatever,
Yeah,
the whatever. Once again, we're just really throwing
he's General
Obey a day or yeah.
Obeyade, yeah, Obeyade.
And like you said, we were already processing all of the slavery that was going on. And then that scene hits and I texted you and I was like, that's when I was like, man, I did not see this coming. And
Yeah,
because like we were already dealing with we're already processing, not dealing, but processing a very heavy theme. And then you throw in another, and I was just, it tackles so many themes that are in a lot of circles taboo or are not, necessarily addressed or talked about or, even acknowledged. And this movie doesn't dance around these themes. It doesn't hide or mask slavery or the treatment of women or the rape that happened. It doesn't hide around any of those. This film attacks them head on from a standpoint and does not allow it to be kind of just like swept under the rug or allow you to interpret what happens. It literally says, no, you're gonna see it, and it's heavy, and but it's well done as well as it can be to make you really
yeah,
see how terrible it was.
yeah. No, I couldn't have said it better. And so, like, continuing with that sort of thought, like she has like this is like you said, it's like you still get her flashback to get her story. Is sh Do you think she's heroic because she's fighting or because she changes?
Nanisca, correct?
Nanisca,
I
right?
yeah,
Is she heroic?
I
Like,
think
yeah,
she is. I'm gonna say it's the both of those things, but I think she's heroic because she endures what she endured and she comes out the other side and does not allow it shapes her, but does not allow it to define her or does not allow that to ruin her or to break her. And she's more powerful because she doesn't allow that to eat away at her. Now it does because like,
yeah,
to the extent where like what happened to her was horrendous and is going to impact her regardless and it's going to affect her life and how she acts, but she does not allow it to destroy her. That's what I think makes her character heroic.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's always hard because it's like same thing with 300, like we don't talk about the undertones of, the fact that the Spartans had a slave system, the fact that, they were also, the big baddies in that area. If you look at the other smaller states in Greece, so, like, when we look at the propagandic strength of them, right? Same thing with the Iliad and, the Odyssey. We sort of use the word whitewash some of the other
Yeah, we
stuff.
we brush
Same
over
thing
it in
is
a lot of that.
you brush fine, yeah, with a big brush, right? So, I mean, the same thing here with Aniska, right? For probably what, like the most of her existence as the leader of the Agojie, they were subjugating other people and sending those slaves over to the Portuguese. And so like she suddenly like has this turnabout, right? I will say that the funny thing about this is like I like the movie, but realistically speaking, like listen, slavery at the scale that it was done is people say, well, there's always slavery and blah blah blah. There's different kind of servitude in slavery, but the scale that was done with the transatlantic slave trade, we don't need to speak about that. But the homie and the Agojie, they participated in that, right? And this story is sort of brushing over that and changing the narrative to make them more of the heroes, which I'm not disagreeing. I actually really like that, but it's probably on us to mention that. Same thing we mentioned with 300, same thing we mentioned with the other stuff, right? But I do think, as far as like the way the story is told of this leader of the Agojie, I do think is the fact that I wouldn't have found her legendary if the story started and ended at the beginning, right? Where we just see her as a leader of the group. I think, like you said, she earns her stripes. She earns sort of like my sort of like applause for her by the growth she had with what she showed to the new recruits. And at the end, when she's willing to defy the king, to go to I forgot the name of the port city by herself to free her Agojie. And then I just love that scene when you see her running and the music is playing, and then her right-hand lieutenant is behind her. And then not only the ladies, but the
They
men
all
captain,
show up.
they're all show up and they're just like running with her, and she just looks at them, and then they all just like just run together. I just love that.
It's such a powerful scene. It's
Yeah.
good. It's like it's like one of those scenes that gives you goosebumps. And you're like, ooh, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
That is in itself heroic, because you're I'm trying to think of the right description, but it's the people that you lead, or that you are in charge of, that you don't ask them to join, they follow without being asked to go. She was going alone. She was not going to ask anyone to go with her. And that shows you the power of Nanisca and her character, that they were willing to go. They didn't care.
Yeah. No, I love
That's
it.
her
I love it.
greatness.
All right, let's flip the coin. Let's go to Nawi. Which this is my first movie with, let me see her name.
I'm gonna let
Was it Salso Imbadu?
Yes.
Umbadu. Oh my God. Umbade. I can't do it. Salso. I apologize. I screwed your name up. But I've not had another movie. This is my first movie with her. And she was a joy. I really loved her character. Like, she played like the cheeky, like just sort of like she had like, I felt like we do this a lot. We talk about like who has the heat map, who like draws your eye, who takes over a scene. I felt like she did that. She ran with that. She killed it. But for our discussion points, we're not only talking about that. We're talking about, did she become a hero? Is she legendary?
I think
become legendary?
Well, I don't think she's become legendary yet. Because I think a legend.
I like the end.
I think Nanisca is more of a legend. Like, but she's also
more of a legend. Yeah. I mean, she is the woman king.
She has
She's the
years,
woman king.
Years of experiences and battles and decisions that have been made that have built her legacy. And Nawi is just starting. But Nawi's got a big rung on that ladder towards legendary status, as I think her story will be told. And she is an awesome warrior. And amazingly acted and portrayed. And she, dare I say, probably is the heir apparent to Nanisca, and will eventually go down that road, because she was just she's just a badass. And especially when she fights in that scene with the blade on like the rope or the chain. Oh man, just awesome.
Yeah. I love it because, like, in the beginning, she literally couldn't tie the rope, and she was like, when are we ever going to use a rope to fight? And then, she gets put in her place. But then it's just funny that, like, that becomes like her signature move, right? I love the play that they do there. Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I think for me, like, again, it's the coming of age story that really works out for me. There is a huge spoiler here that I'm trying to keep just a little bit on the wraps in case someone has not watched it. But Nawi is a very pivotal, important character for many.
I was trying to think of what it was you're trying not to spoil, and then all of a sudden it clicked. I know.
Well, I feel like if someone hasn't watched that's one I kind of want to leave there for you.
because it just clicked in my head which spoiler you were trying not to say.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
really
yes.
tempted. It is taking every
But
ounce of
like
me not to just say the spoiler, just to be that person, just to say it, but I'm not going to.
listen, I'm usually the person. So if you do it, I'll be forever grateful. And then I can always say that Justin revealed the spoilers this point. I'm just joking. But no, I think she is sort of like when you think about a new generation of whatever, right? Oh, the old generation, used to farm and the new generation left the farm or left this place or they want technology. We don't want like she didn't understand why like if a guy smiles at me, why can't I just flirt back with him? Like just some of the general things that she didn't think was destroying her ability to be a warrior, right? And Aniska's like, we have to be 100% focused. We have to be there. We have to do this. I'm not sure if Nawi ended that at the end of the movie where she's like completely with Aniska. But like you said, the ending scenes where she's basically saying goodbye to her quote unquote love interest
Uh-huh.
and moving and sort of walking with her sisters. And then the last scene, which is a spoiler, but it's one of my, I just love imagery. And I forgot the lieutenant's name, but it's Nanisca, her right hand lady, and then now we are all overlooking the ocean. And the right hand lady has her staff on her shoulder. And now he just takes her sword and just puts it on her shoulder. And they're all just like looking out. And it's
Yeah.
just like the three ladies are just scanning. Yeah, I just love that scene. So it's kind of her choosing her sisters over,
Yeah, it's
anything
I think it's
else.
a
I
Menza.
do,
A Meneza. Is that it?
um,
A Meneza.
Amenza, yeah, uh,
A Menza.
Amenza. It's Amenza. And if we're completely
Oh, I'm
not
sure
saying
I'm
these
saying it
words
wrong.
correctly, let me know. Let me know.
Well,
Let
sure.
me know.
Let's just say this right now.
I don't know.
I am not saying
I
anything
don't
correct.
listen. My first name is Uzadima, so I understand when people screw people's names wrong, and I don't know, like, if this is like, is this like, because I'm West African, so is it all pronounced the same? Was it all pronounced? I don't know how I'm pronouncing it because I don't know which way you pronounce it. So please, always for Justin and I, this is a asterisk for forevermore. No disrespect. If he's saying correctly, just tell us
I
and
mean,
we'll
I'll
fix
try.
it. Anyway,
I'm trying.
you, but no, yeah, that is one of my favorite scenes. But I like getting back to the true grit of it, right? I do think she becomes a hero. I do think she becomes, in a sense, that I think the Agojie themselves are heroes. She becomes a
Yes.
true Agojie, not by becoming the best in her class, which she was, not by surviving a battle, which she did. It is it is what happened in that last scene, and basically, just going to town and showing her true colors for the Agojie and then walking back home with Agojie. I feel like that is her coming of age,
Her
her full
moment.
circle, and then she sort of has her moment. Yep, her moment, her moment. Um, and like I like it that it wasn't just a story of
Uh-huh.
one like main Agojie character. Like I like the dualities of it. Sadly, this is just me. Has nothing to do with Nawi or Nanisca, but Justin, Justin. If Izogie could just have survived.
Why?
I
First
loved
of
her.
all, first of
I
all,
loved her
speaking of
so much.
spoilers, secondly,
Yeah, I
I
couldn't
did
help it.
too,
Couldn't help
and
it. Sorry.
just how that went and how her like how she died and how like when they were captured, just the whole thing was just brutal. And I loved her character. I did too.
Unnecessary. It was
I mean,
unnecessary if you ask me. I have words with
yeah,
you,
no, yeah,
Gina.
yeah.
She's a
Nanisca,
director, by the way.
Nanisca, Nawi, Izogie, and Amenza, all great characters. Like all four of them,
Yeah.
liked all of them. Normally, there's like somebody that I'm going to start picking nits with. Loved all four of those characters. Was really on board with all of them, and
Yeah.
that's tough. I just enjoyed their characters.
Yeah, I did too. I did too. I wish they all would have survived, but you
Alas,
know what? That sometimes happens. You got to lose a character or two. So I pour one out to my
like
girl. She played pretty good. But yeah, I I think we haven't quite hit this issue, but I think it is important to talk about a little bit. Like, does this movie work better for you because they're dealing head on with the issue of slavery, or is that just an added piece that's sprinkled to the pie? And I think for me, like, it, I always get I always get like a little bit like defensive in a way, or just protective when we're talking about narratives that like still resonate really strongly with the current population. Like there's like a current, it could be negative or positive, whoever you're talking to about the whole slavery issue, right? And so I'm always like sensitive when people depict it and how they depict it. And like I, for me, think this was a powerful story, and we're gonna continue this theme as we hit a couple more, like, African fantasies or sci-fi kinda creations, but this is a forced history, right? Like, this is a rewriting of history to make a very good Hollywood movie. But for me, I'm like, why do that when we can take a Njinga from Luanda and talk about a queen who fought the Portuguese on behalf of her people, and it's true historical lady who was amazing in sort of rewriting history. Now, I totally agree. I love me some Dahomey, and if you told me I wouldn't have the Agojie without this story, I'd be like, give me the
Mhm.
story because I love the Agojie. So it's a hard sort of like, I'm not fighting it, but I'm also
Yeah.
like cognizant of it because I just it's an interesting dichotomy for me.
Yeah, it's one, I think it's with this film, it's important to acknowledge, like, it's the story of the Agojie, and that's the focus, right?
Yep.
I
Yep.
think,
Yep. Good point.
however, I think this film does a better job of attacking or acknowledging themes head on as best it can without making it the sole central focus of it. Whereas a lot of movies would just kind of like you said, whitewash over it. I I don't know. I don't know if it's possible to ever, I'm trying to use the right words here, is ever depict or represent the atrocities or how awful slavery is and was during this time and what went on there. I don't know if it's even possible to capture on film. I don't know if it's even a topic that can truly, our society can actually, you know, not digest, but actually like compute and actually understand. Because like you said, I think we're in a situation where sadly there shouldn't be, but there's two sides to this and how it's depicted. And unfortunately, I just don't know if we as people can even address that. And I think it needs to
Mhm.
be, but I just don't know how it can actually, I don't think it can ever actually truly be captured. But I at least appreciate that this film doesn't just pretend it didn't happen or wasn't existing in this culture and going on during that time. I at least appreciate that they it was represented in this film. I don't know if I don't know what else
Yeah.
I can say to that. So I don't know.
No, I mean, I honestly, I think you said it right from in the beginning sentence you mentioned. Like, this is a story of Yagoji. I think like, especially like, because folks would say like, this is not what happened, right? Or why are we talking about it? So different stories. But I think at the end of the day, they're telling the story of powerful women who had the opportunity to control their own destinies in a time when that's not normally the case. So I do think it softens history in the sense that it gives them too much agency as far as like them fighting back against a system that they didn't create, but they benefited from. But I think I think if this was me being the director of this in this piece, like I'm speaking for Gina. Gina, I'm speaking for you. But I would say like she does that to tell an emotional story. And how do you tell an emotional story that sits about these strong women, about what they did, about them
Mhm.
making independent choices that were powerful and showed that they had the strength in themselves. So I like that. That part I really do enjoy. So I think well done. But yeah, you can't escape these realities because it's like if we're talking about Almstead, it's like, well, or
Yeah.
basically The Color Purple, or we're talking about you know, roots or all the stuff. Like you're not going to escape those realities. And but hers is more of, I think, emotional story, like you said, about the Nanisca and the Agojie. So
I would
cheers.
love to
Yeah.
hear Viola Davis's. I should probably look into it and see if there's like interviews on this movie and like just
Yeah.
her thought process going through it. I would love to hear because I think she's an amazing
I would.
actor. Seems like an amazing person and a very powerful individual. And I don't think she just chooses a role lightly. And I would really I think I should probably we should probably look into seeing if there's interviews where she talks about this because I would love to hear her
Yeah.
thought process going through it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know. Like I mean, like this is not her traditional type movie, and she definitely like this was something that she was
Yeah.
like, I'm doing this, and I again, I keep going back to that. Like my only, it's not even, it's a weird comparison, but the only thing that I can think of is sort of thinking about Heath Ledger when I heard that he was slated to be the Joker,
Yeah.
for Christopher Nolan. We're talking about
Look at
Christopher
that. You're
Nolan's
tying
Odyssey,
it all
Christopher
together.
Nolan's, you know, oh yeah, oh yeah. I honestly was like, that guy from 10 Things I Hate About You, that guy from The Patriot. I was like, this is going to be just. I was like, I was not
Man,
in it, but I'm not gonna lie to you, that
I
man.
I'm kind of sad that
I mean, listen, that
yeah.
role cost him his life.
I'm
Like it was,
I'm
it
kind of
was
sad that
so good.
looking at Heath, you didn't think he was awesome before that role. He was awesome before that role.
No, 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 no,
But
no,
I
no,
mean,
no,
I
no, no,
loved him
no.
in 10 Things I Hate About You.
I don't think he could have done the Joker.
Fair,
There's a
fair, fair,
difference.
fair.
You can be
That's fair.
awesome
That's
and
fair.
then doing the
I will
Joker is
tell
a
you
different
a
thing.
little glimpse into this.
That's it.
My guilty pleasure, usually like when I'm on an airplane and I'm like, I don't know what I want to watch if I'm not feeling like reading or listening to music or something. And there's no good movie. Like there's just I fly enough that there's just not always a movie out that I haven't seen or
Yeah.
want to see. But good old 10 Things I Hate About You is always on my Delta flights. And so that is my guilty pleasure. Just pop it on, hour 40. I watch that all the time.
Yeah. It's
It is. It
it's
is.
a good movie. I like, and
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
I equated him
No. Hey.
to Miss Davis, because it's like she's done great movies too, but I just wouldn't have
Yeah.
seen her in this role,
Yeah.
and she did it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I see only
Now,
you. So
and her,
kudos to
she's
her.
probably done bigger roles than I love Heath, but she's probably done a little bit bigger roles and had then outside the Joker for Heath. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
right. So
Oh, yeah.
I hear you. You corrected me.
Listen,
I was,
yeah,
but yes, but I
yeah.
love Heath too. So, but yeah, that's my glimpse in. That's my
All right.
guilty pleasure movie that I put on all the time. I think I watched it like a week ago when I was on the plane. So it's several times a year.
Nice.
They need
Nice.
Delta, Delta, if you're listening.
Yeah, that's fair.
I need you to throw in some like She's All That maybe, like so I can like get some more
Honestly,
flicks.
we've gone completely off the deep end tangent here, but I actually want to see that again because it's either going to be so
So good.
amazingly bad
So
or
good.
so amazingly good. Because I remember watching it, I was like, it's a fun movie when we were watching it. You're in like high school or whatever, and like I'm just thinking about it now. I'm like, that could be so bad. I'm thinking of like the Seth
no,
Green.
that's
Like I'm
not,
just like,
that's
oh,
not She's
this
All
is
That.
cringeworthy.
That's that is, hold on. No,
Take me
that's not.
down
Stop.
to the
Hold on.
Paradise
Stop. That
City
is
with a
with
graphic.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, and that is oh goodness, I'm drawing a blank. No, She's All That is with Freddie Prinze Jr. No,
Take me down to the
different
Paradise
films.
City. I know it's a different
Now
film.
you're gonna drive me-
Yes. So I'm
Yeah, now
thinking
you're
of a
gonna drive
totally
me
different
nuts.
film.
Can't Hardly Wait. Can't Hardly Wait is what you're thinking.
Can't Hardly Wait.
She's All
That's what I'm
That is with
thinking.
Freddie Prinze
Okay,
Jr.
let me take it
and
back.
Paul
I don't like
Walker.
She's All That. I think
Yeah.
She's All That's
It's just
okay.
one of my guilty. It's like one of my.
Can't Hardly Wait's the one I was thinking of.
No,
Cringeworthy.
She's
I
All
don't
That
know
is one
where
of my
that's
guilty
at.
pleasure. Like that, it's like, oh yeah, I'll watch it because it's on. Same thing with like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. We've gone off the rocker here, but yes, I like my late 90s, early 2000s
yeah.
rom-coms. In case you're keeping track,
I've tracked. I've tracked. I thought you would have said
that's on
Dazed
there
and
too.
Confused,
I
but
like that too.
whatever. All right. Okay,
Circle it
we're
back.
getting back. Justin has talked about some of his heat map, heat check movies of the early 90s, mid 90s. We're going to do a little segment here called the heat map. Usually do heat check. I think we did this in season 2, season
Yep.
3, but we're just going to list a name some characters, and we're going to say where they're on the map. Were they hot? Like every time they touched the scene, they were burning fire?
Yeah.
Were they warm?
I'm going to do my... Sorry. I should have let you
Yeah?
finish your scale. I apologize.
All right. So we got hot. We've got warm. We've got tepid, like, oh, okay, you're all right.
Okay.
Or just cold, like, nah, cut you out.
I'm going to do my best to not elaborate and actually just like let this play out, because I have a tendency to just keep talking.
You're all good. All right. What about General Nanisca?
Hot, baby, hot. I just started not elaborating.
Okay.
Just hot.
Okay. I concur. Okay. Nawi.
You're going to hate me. I'm going to say warm. I know you're going to say hot, but I'm going to say warm. I can't give everybody hot.
You can't, but you certainly could have given Nawi hot.
Hot. Super hot. Just awesome. Awesome in general.
She's the sun. She's the sun. She's burning bright. Amenza.
Warm. Not as warm as Nawi, though. Nawi's like borderline, about to boil.
Okay. All right. What about King Gezo, played by John Boyega?
He plays Finn, right? Doesn't he? Is he Finn in Star Wars?
He's Finn. God, that's literally the next movie you go to that John Boyega's in. Finn in Star Wars. Okay, I know this is fun. What was he?
He was tepid. I mean, it's. You agree?
Again. Yes.
No.
I want to hear your explanation first.
I'll say what I was going to say, but what was yours? Sorry. Yeah,
I said sadly I would agree with you, but yes,
it is not a shot against him. It is 100% that these 4 women are just bad asses. They're just awesome. I wanted to use a different word there, and I wanted to just, they are so awesome on screen. Their characters are so powerful. They overshadow everybody else in this entire movie.
All right, that's fair. All right, Malik, who's Nawi's love interest, half
tepid because I just don't want to be a jerk.
Yeah, tepid's fine. I concur. What about Santo? Was it
what a
Sierra?
sack of
so cold? Is that where you
characters for the role that his character is playing? It's tepid to borderline cold. It's fine. It's just there.
Okay. I'm gonna say tepid just because he has rationale for why he's in the movie.
But I'll tell you what, you're foreshadowing into another award I'm about to give out.
Okay, what about General?
Another sack of
Obade.
Once again, so we're doing this this obviously is not the character. It's they didn't choose their characters. It's the character that is written.
Yeah,
tepid but borderline warm. But that's because the majority of the scenes that he's in are like really impressive action scenes that are just like high paced. And you know what?
Yeah.
Not your fault. You're getting carried by Nanisca in each one of those scenes. And she makes those scenes hot.
I'm going to go tepid. Because of what you just said at the end, because he is carried by Nanisca, so that's where I'm at there. I'm going to skip the last one because I think the last one's going to play a part in my next segment for me. So I'll keep the fire for that, pun intended. So our second to last segment here is the Ron Weasley Award. So the Ron Bilious Wan Weasley Award is something that Jess and I have been giving out in the season 4 to a character who's just utterly useless.
I don't know if I'd say utterly useless. Well, no, they're utterly useless. Ron
really?
Is utterly
you don't?
useless.
I'm gonna
say the greatest gift you may have ever given me was making this an award. It might be the greatest gift you've ever given me.
You know, I figured it's the way to go. If people catch our season 1, our episode on Ron Weasley, this will make complete sense. So we look at the movies or books that we are covering now. We're saying which character just doesn't add to the thing or takes away from the main character, drags them down. They're in a lake, they're drowning, and they just drag the person down with them. Which character does that? So, Justin,
Yes.
the Frank.
I love it.
Me, the third person. I just did that. Yes. So my Ronald Weasley Award for the movie The Women King goes to
What are you doing?
Queen Shanty. So Queen Shanty is basically the queens for King Gezo. She's the one who tries to undermine Nanisca and the Agojie at every turn. She wants to be the woman king. She wants to be the show, but she has no flavor. She has no power. She has nothing. I say nothing. I say it all. This woman, she got nothing over here. Yeah, she's got nothing, my friend. She is just empty air. She's just talking a bag. She's wind. She's sand in the wind. She's fog. She's nothing. Do I have to keep saying every these things? She's selling smoke. She's got nothing, my friend. That's it. That's all I got. I don't know. I don't have any other accents I can pull at that point. I'm just gonna stop. That's it. That's it. I'm done.
I will say I'm just impressed. I appreciate that your annoyance and vitriol and anger towards this character, I really feel that it embodies what the Ron Weasley Award was created for. And I am so proud of you. And I honestly, I have nothing else to say. I think you just put that award right where it needed to be on the shelf. And you did that more than justice, my friend. I'm very impressed.
Oh,
I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
I like you did that so well. I could play like devil's advocate or whatever and pick somebody else in there, but I just don't think that there needs to be. I think that's where it needs to stop. I don't think there should be even a discussion.
Okay. Listen. If we both concur, then this is our unanimous pick.
Here's your
of the
award.
Ron Weasley Award. There you go. All right. So, all jokes aside, let's get to the second best part of the show, where we grade. Justin, you want to share our grading scale?
Though, I feel by now, dear listener, you should have been with us the whole time, and you should be understanding this grading scale. But in the off chance that you were not, our grading scale stems from our time at college, when we had a professor, David Guinea, who on the first day of school, I believe his words were something along the lines of, and you know what, Professor Guinea, if you're listening, feel free to correct me. I believe it goes something along the lines of, you all probably came from high school where most of you, if not all of you, got A's across the board. Probably some B's, doubtful NECs, but you probably are all used to getting a lot of A's. And it's probably important that you all understand that a C is average work, meaning I expect the average grade to be a C. A B is very good work, meaning you are doing better than the average person. And an A is exceptional work. So all of you here should be ready to not get all of the A's that you had, because I will be grading a C will be average work, and the average in this class should be a C. And so that is what we grade on. So some may say it's a harsher scale than a lot of people are used to, but that's how we grade. And that's how we're going to grade. Now, I would also like to give a caveat that Frank and I are not intentionally going to pick a movie we think is a D, because we don't want to waste our time watching a D or an E movie.
Yeah, I've never done that before.
We're not gonna intentionally do that. I am borderline on a grade, and I'm just not. I'm not quite sure where I'm gonna put it. So I'm gonna go with the conservative grade, as opposed, because I can't quite push it there. So I'm gonna give it a B plus.
Okay.
I thought it was very good.
That's fair.
Very good. Borderline A minus, but very good. I'm gonna stick with B plus. It's a powerful movie.
That's fair.
I highly recommend. And based on how I just described movies, I think that the grades, I think that you should take a B plus as a positive here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go the liberal route. And I was between a B plus and an A minus. I was going to give it a B plus for the aforementioned things I mentioned about sort of like the licenses that we're taking with it. But I'm going to give it an A minus to the extent that I thought the fight scenes were amazing. I thought focusing on, for me personally, like, I run nostalgic. So like nostalgia wins points for me, but for me also representation wins points for me too. So I'm inflating my grade. I'm telling you that I'm inflating my grade because it is important that they're depicting various cultures and powerful in their
100%.
powerful state.
Frank,
So
that alone is enough of a
yeah,
reason
yeah.
that
So
that you should see this movie. It's
exactly that's what inflates my grade to make it the A minus because I do think I'm like I think that I'm saying inflate as it I'm taking away my
yeah,
qualms
I
about
respect
like
it.
the sort of like the soft touch on history because of that. But I think good acting, good characters, good character development, fun scenes, difficult scenes, like really difficult scenes. But I think all in all, the movie does make like a good watch. My first time watching it, I had no expectations and I enjoyed it. So whoever watches this, if you haven't watched it already, I'm telling you to watch it, but come with it expectation light. I think that's what's going to make it better for you. Have no preconceived notions of it. Just come in and watch it. If you do that, you'll enjoy it. If you don't, you might enjoy it.
I would just say it's a heavy movie.
Uh,
There's a lot of themes that it tackles, and it's
yeah,
worth seeing. I'm glad
yeah.
I am very glad that you chose this movie. I'll give you all the credit. I'm glad you chose it, and I'm glad I watched it.
Nice. Well, we've continued on our theme. We're gonna stay in Africa on our next pick or two. I think with the Women King, remember that sometimes being remembered isn't the key, but deserving to be remembered is. So we're sort of like hitting these different tidbits about being a hero. I think next week we're gonna hit you up with another one where you're gonna scratch your head and say ancient culture again, that executive license. Black Panther, baby. We're gonna explain, but we also think that given its influence in our current culture, it definitely has vibes. Even though it's a completely fictional, but again, there's controversial, non-controversial themes of why that's important to dissect. So we will dissect it
And
and talk
you know
about some
what?
fun
One
parts
of
too.
the themes of this podcast for this season is heroes. You know what Black Panther's got? It's got some heroes.
We got some heroes, man. Hey, Chadwick, I love
What?
you, baby. I love you wherever you are, my friend.
I mean, we'll talk about it then. But what an amazing actor! Yes,
Yes,
what just
and
a
a human.
wonderful
Amazing
human
actor
being.
and a human. Yes. So, hey, if you all have liked what you've listened to, what you've heard, please like us, follow us, whatever moniker happens for
Hey,
YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, all the above. Just like,
even if you
just do it all.
didn't,
Do it all.
you can still do all that stuff. No one's
Just be like, I
one's
didn't like it, but I'm going to still say
no one's
yes.
stopping you. I mean, let's not pigeonhole ourselves into just that group. Let's go for it all.
Exactly. Yes. If you were lukewarm about it, if you're tepid about it, even if you're cold about it, just go for it. Just go for it. No publicity is bad publicity. Anyway, if you wanna talk to us, hit us up at thefictionpodcast@gmail.com or the Fiction Podcast at Instagram. But we're happy to keep doing this and we're happy that you're listening. So catch you next week.
Can't wait.